At 6:30 Thursday morning, 11 trucks and 55 men were on hand in the Russell Gravel Pit Bayside to start the day's work. And a great day's work it was. 105 loads of an excellent quality gravel, approximating 260 yards, were hauled to the arena and spread. The surface was leveled to a nicety and will be rolled down hard with a heavy roller. This gravel, which contains a large proportion of sand, will pack down hard and smooth. It will make an excellent foundation for ice and also assure a firm, dry floor for the various uses to which the arena may be put in the summer months. Of course, the highlight of the day was dinner served in the pit at noon. Picture 55 hungry but happy men ranged in a semicircle on comfortable settees, a huge fire in the center, glowing in accordance with the best traditions, 2 wash boilers brimming full of delicious fish chowder, gallons of coffee, heaps of pies and donuts, cases of ginger ale, boxes of cigars, cigarettes, and bags of candy. Is it not a picture to make one's mouth water? The men who took part in this latest community rally all expressed themselves as having had a whale of a time. With the sandbank 100 feet high as a background, the noble St Croix of deep cerulean blue sparkling in the autumn sunlight in front, and the amusing antics of diners, boys again for a day, the setting was made to order for Bill O'Neill and his movie camera. He took several reels of pictures, which will be shown later in Technicolor to his friends about town. The only expense items in connection with this wonderful rally were the food for the men, the gas and oil for the trucks, and the gravel, which cost 5 cents a yard. It is evident that the community spirit in St Andrews is still very much alive, and that interest in the hockey and skating arena is as strong as ever. You ask a man to go out today and shovel sand all day as a volunteer. That's a very steep hill coming up out of that pit for the truck. I remember going out to work with my dad when he drove a dump truck, and the truck would be in low gear going roar, 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 roar up that steep hill, and I recall him saying, "I hope we don't break an axle or we'll go down backwards."
There were a lot of unemployed men in this community and lots of other communities in Canada. And I remember growing up in the 50s, it was not uncommon to go downtown and see 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 men downtown, just an off chance they might get a half day's worth of work here, there, or wherever. And in between, I mean, everyone will tell you about the games they played. The bank, out in front of the bank, there used to be 2 park benches. And the men would play penny toss. And they'd walk back and put their heels on what we now call the curb of the road. So 8 men would line up and they'd take a penny. And the penny had to hit the foundation of the bank and bounce out. But the one whose penny was the closest to the bank after everybody had tossed a penny, he scooped up the handful of pennies. Well, a fellow might get 17 cents in the course of a day, and that might buy him a pack of smokes. And I just remember we had all these characters who were unemployed, who were, pretty good people all the way around. And their families, it seemed, used to get the rink rat positions first. And people like Bill O'Neill would play cozy with that, but if he knew that your dad was unemployed, if he knew that you wouldn't be able to afford to come and go skating or wouldn't be able to afford to come to a hockey game, then you got to become a rink rat before somebody else. You worked, but at the end of the work, there was a reward for it. Mm-hmm.
Now we're that's down the beach, maybe getting seaweed for Conley slabs.
We're blowing up rocks.
Oh, they are now. What would that be for?
It's on the beach, and what they're doing is blowing up rocks.
Are they blowing up rocks for the rink? Or what were to remember the other film?
We can't figure this out at all.
Oh.
And there's our grandfather there, isn't it?
The problem is, they blow these rocks up, all they're going to get is fractured rocks. They're not going to get things for building walls.
True.
We can't understand why they were doing it. There was no particular reason to move it, as far as we could tell.
Where are they? What are you looking across at?
You're looking at Minister's Island there. There's a weird...
Yeah. That makes sense. That would be the bar.
Yeah, I think so. So it's
Yeah.
on this side of the bar then.
Yeah.
That's that first meadow up there
Hmm.
where the Baltimore people have.
That I think it's the facing the Van Horn Island. Suck Uncle Pie.
Yeah.
The walk's like Frank.
It does look like it's the time of, 38, 39,
Yeah,
40.
exactly.
But we can't figure out what they're doing.
So he's putting dynamite in there, is he? The people that have historically had all the dynamite business in this part of the county, oh, there's the fuse, was a family of a merchant from Chamcook. They used to do the blowing up.
Was to create a seawall at the back of the property
Oh, God.
to make sure that they didn't lose more land.
This one, you see, they're blowing up.
Yeah, that's right.
And that just ends up with a whole lot of fractured bits that wouldn't be any use for anything.
Yeah.
Don't go back, right?
Yeah. No, don't go check. Wow. That's crazy.
This all
Oh.
you're getting is fragments. Look,
Slivers of
you can't do anything with that. So what are they trying to make? Well, there was only one big rock there. There were
Yeah.
two big rocks. There's another one a bit further along there. So the only rational explanation we have is that these large rocks at medium to low tide present a hazard to boats coming in or around the shore, and they're just simply trying to remove the rocks and putting them up just to act as a bit of bank protection at the base of their bank.
So we're going to see it go here, are we?
I didn't.
That's
know.
amazing.
Wow.
Oh, that's on the lake, yeah.
Yeah.
Chamcook Lake.
Chamcook Lake.
There's a
Yep,
house.
that cottage is still there.
This is cut nice. That would be the Chandlers and the O'Neills.
Yeah, and McCoy's.
McCoy's, right?
McCoy's.
Later in life was Bill Chandler. He cut for the CPR. McCoy. They ran a garage and service station where the liquor store is.
Oh, see them cut nice? And had taxis and everything.
Taxis, yeah. McCoy and O'Neills.
They were in everything. They really were.
So must be where they cut their ice, huh? Got it out there.
Yes.
Ooh.
We had an ice house at the back, 317 Parr Street. My grandfather owned the lot where my mom and dad eventually built. The ice house would have kept Stinson's grocery in ice. Yeah. See, they wouldn't use good trucks out there. They used the old ones that worked because they'd get so rusty from the ice.
Jeez. The Chandlers loaded it right on the CPR boxcars and they took it away to McAdam or somewheres. And the other bunch, did Conley's cut their own ice? Did they buy it?
They bought it.
They had that big ice house up
Yeah,
there
they
by
bought
me.
it. Yeah. And you know, we had men drown. They were cutting. They had out cutting ice. They hadn't, and they used to go up there and had a camp out there, go out and play cards on the weekend. And they had been cutting ice, and they had trees all around it, and they went in.
They drove their car
They
up
drove
the
cars.
ice.
And I still think the fellow that was driving had a heart attack to go through. One man got out. And the town was closed down, with funerals and, the schools, everything was closed. And one fellow was 19 years old.
Jackie Gibson, he was the mason up on the front street, and he was the survivor, wasn't he?
Yeah, he got out. And he went from the lake down to the mouth of the road to get help.
He was standing on the running board. He wasn't in the
He
car.
wasn't in the car. Is that what happened?
Yeah, he jumped. He jumped free.
And you couldn't get anybody else out.
They said the light stayed on for a long time.
Is that right?
It's real spooky. Oh, there's a whole poem
Really?
about it, about them going through.
Said Stinson's had a nice house. Uncle Bob Stinson built his house. My grandmother paid him so much and paid them so much torch so I could go over there and cut ice anytime for her ice balls.
They're building Donnie Williamson's house, corner of Parr and Ernest. And beyond Donnie's house, you'll see a big wooden structure in just a few seconds. On the far left, you see a wooden wall. There it is. That's Conley's ice house.
Doesn't look finished, is it?
No, it was just wooden walls with bays full of sawdust, and buried the ice in the sawdust, and there it stayed until they needed it.
And where was that exactly?
On Ernest Street, in the block between Parr and Carlton. And then when Conley's built their new plant, they had an ice making machine in there, made their own ice. So then they got rid of the ice house.
That's the old lighthouse down there. What gas tanks the back of Conley's Lobster. See, Cottage Craft, where that is, Conley's Lobster was there, and then they went down to that building there. There's a carrier there. CPR Wharf. They're taking the stuff out, whatever it is.
But they're in barrels.
In barrels, something, yeah.
I wonder if that's Jack's, the boat jackpot.
For years, every Friday, someone from our family had to go to St Andrews to get lobster at the pound.
Oh, really?
My father served it at Loon Bay Lodge every Friday night. So my job was to find Kenny Leslie at the pound because he was the one who Dad trusted to make them all the same size.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't have one of our guests saying someone got a bigger lobster than they did.
That's
Junior
Conley.
Junior Conley. Yeah.
Yeah, he was Ralph's son. He was mentally challenged. They lived in the house up there where Bill Emery has his dental shop.
Name is Ralph.
His father was Ralph, so
Oh.
being Junior, he must have been Ralph too,
But he was always called Junior.
Junior, he was called, and he could swear like a trooper.
Oh, yes, I taught him. Who was that taught him to swear?
I
Somebody
don't
worked
know.
out. Oh, terrible.
Used to embarrass Red Sharkey.
Oh, yes.
That one right there is Leslie, isn't it, Spike? The one the red hat, Spike Leslie, I think. Lester, no, his father was Lester. Spike was his nickname, but that's what he went by.
We had a lot of nicknames in town, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Ellen Gibson.
Ellen, was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
Gibson.
yeah.
Her father was the survivor from Chamcook Lake drownings.
Yeah.
I guessed it was in Connolly's, but...
Yeah, could be. Looks like Junior in the back
Well,
there.
you see, her husband, the fellow she married, worked down in Conley's. He's the one that taught Junior how to swear.
That right?
Yeah.
There, this one's going to turn around. There you go.
Yeah, that's Beryl Stinson.
Beryl.
Yeah.
B-R-Y-L.
B-E-R-Y-L. And
Yeah.
Stinson, yeah.
Jeannie's aunt.
Jeez, aunt. You think that's the Conley's office?
I think it is.
Okay, good.
It looks like it, yes. But who they are, I do not know.
Who's that?
There's Ralph Conley.
Ralph Conley, Junior's father.
So that's Ralph Conley.
Yeah. Well, we're waking up now.
Oh, God, yes. Well, we're local. We're
We're getting the people we know now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Manford and Ed started, didn't they?
Manford was Ed's son, wasn't he?
Yeah. So was Ralph and Pat and
Yeah, so it was a father and son
Yeah.
undertaking, really.
to start with, yeah. Then along came Charles. He was another son.
You know what Sandy Johnson said?
What's that?
Sandy said Ed Conley was the only man in Canada that got the family allowance and the old age pension at the same time.
He was. He used to call it the baby bonus. Ed was 70 years old when Charles was born.
Yes, he was.
Just 50 years after Manford.
Yeah,
Different mother.
he was probably right.
Alice was Manfred Conley's daughter, and Manfred was Ed Conley's son. So young wee Charles was Ed Conley's son. So Manfred and little Charles were brothers. So Aunt Alice was Charles's niece, and he was her uncle. That looks like Ralph Conley. That looks like Leigh Williamson with that dark car departing in the background. I don't know who that is. I mean, it's a familiar face, but
Gibson? Looks like the Gibson.
Edie?
Looks like young Gibson. Joe Gibson.
it was always quite a sight to see the CPR boxcars backed down the siding right along the lobster plant. The deck at the plant was built at exactly the height of the doors to the boxcar, so they wheeled the lobster boxes from the plant over the deck and right into the boxcar, as slick as a whistle. It was quite a sight. There's John and Peter down at Conley's lobster plant with monster lobsters. Well, they shipped the live lobsters in wooden boxes that were about 2 feet square and maybe 2 feet high. And these boxes were made at the Conley's plant. And I remember this when the plant was down on Market Square in the old Cottage Craft building. And it was upstairs in that L that went out from the main building up towards the pub. And one summer I worked there for a couple of weeks when I was a little kid. My uncle wanted to get me out of the way, I guess, and said, "You want to make some money?" So I said, "Sure." So I went up there and made those boxes. It was quite a production. There were maybe half a dozen people hammering away, putting these boxes together. And inside the box, on either side, there was an interior wall about 3 or 4 inches from the outside wall. And it's into that space that they put ice. And there were little holes at the bottom of the box so the water could drain off. And then in the main part of the box, they used rockweed, put down a layer of rockweed, put some lobsters in, another layer of rockweed, more lobsters until they filled the box up. And then nail the top on and take it down to the train station. And off they went to Macadam, and then from Macadam they go to Montreal and points west, and also down into New England. It was quite an operation.